We are no strangers to algal blooms around here, but not one of them has gotten the attention like the problem plaguing the reflecting pool in Washington, D.C. Joining us now, someone who has directly inspected the algae problem in the reflecting pool. We welcome in SUNY ESF Professor Emeritus Greg Boyer. Greg, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Nice to be here.
So how surprised are you to see the algae problem in the reflecting pool? Have they had that before, or is this kind of a first?
No. They have had the algal problem for many, many years.
Okay.
In fact, Obama did a massive $34 million attempted cleanup on it. I'm not surprised that they have a problem. You have to remember the reflecting pool is this big, wide, shallow expanse of water. It gets a lot of sunlight exposure. They often feed it with water from the Potomac River estuary, which has a very high nutrient concentration and is subject to a lot of sewage spills and things like that. So if you were going to design a facility to grow algae, that's exactly the type of facility you would design.
So I'm curious. So you were contacted by The Atlantic, which, for those who don't know, one of the nation's oldest, most respected magazines. They wanted you to sample some of the water from the reflecting pool. So what did you find? If you're not surprised to see algae there, what did you find, though, from your sampling?
Well, most of
you didn't take the water out.
No, I did not. I did not take the water. The water came to me in a little box sent to my home. You know,
we don't know from where. Doesn't matter.
We didn't know from where. It just showed up in 2 Poland Spring bottles.
Well, what did you find, though?
Well, I was actually surprised because what I first expected to see was that it would be a blue-green algal bloom or a cyanobacteria bloom. Turns out that was not the bloom that's in there. It's a very different type of algae. It's a green algae, something that's called Synodesmus. We jokingly call it skinny dead mouse because we can't pronounce the name.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
So I know there has been a great deal of controversy over the repainting of the bottom at the cost of several $1 million, by the way. How much is that new deeper blue contributing to the algae we are seeing there?
You know, probably not as much as we think. Again, the reflecting pool is very shallow, so it's going to mimic the air temperature very quickly. And so while, yes, you do get a little bit of elevated heating from the darker color, it's probably just not going to play enough of a factor that it's going to change it. The algae are going to be in warm water. So warm water and slightly warmer water isn't going to make a difference.
But we now have a big birthday coming up for America here in a couple of days. So there is this frantic effort to get rid of this algae. How are they doing?
Well, they're not going to like the answer, but they have no choice but to drain the pool. They're going to have to totally drain the pool. They're then going to have to fill it back up, presumably with Washington, D.C. water and not the water from the Potomac River, because it's going to... And then the algae are going to come back because they have algae in all their pipes and everything else. So they're probably going to have to drain it again until they can flush the system out. And so we've dealt with these type of algal blooms in some of our culture facilities, and you know, they get in all the nooks and crevices and everything, and they're a lot of work to get rid of.
So I'm curious, I've heard that they've been using this thing, it's called like an ozone nano bubbler or something like that. Is that, is that helping at all, or are they just,
well,
like you say,
you know, this is a $17 million experiment, or a $1.7 million experiment. Ozone is a very powerful oxidant, and it was designed to get rid of harmful algal blooms or blue-green algae, right? Unfortunately, that's not what they have. Green algae are very resistant to ozone. So it's a very interesting question of whether the ozone that they're using there is actually going to be very effective on the algae is there.
This feeling you're saying they're wasting their time and money.
Well, let's just put it this way. You know, the reflecting pool has about 25 million gallons of green algae growing, and they're putting these little ozone nanobubbles in 6 little tiny locations. So if I was on Kashi, I'd be betting on the algae.
Interesting. Greg, quickly, the algae that is there, how similar is that to what we typically see in our lakes here? Is it like poisonous, dangerous?
No, it is. The green algae is totally non-toxic. So there's no problem with toxicity. It looks bad. in our lakes, you'll sometimes see the green algae. It will eventually die off, and that can consume the oxygen in the water, and so you can get low oxygen conditions and stuff like that. But Synodesmus is very, very common. It would be in all our lakes.
Okay.
It's certainly in the Potomac River, and so, you know, you could bring a culture in from there and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Interesting stuff, Greg. Thanks so much for shedding a little light on it. Really appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Okay.
Download the WSYR Plus app on your TV to stream News Channel 9 for free. Just go to your smart TV, search WSYR Plus in the App Store, and download to start streaming today.